Go and look at the sleeve of whatever you wore yesterday. Somewhere on it, there's a wet patch, or a pulled thread, or a small hole that wasn't there a few days ago. Now look at your hands. The back of the knuckles, the soft bit inside your wrist. If you've got a young dog in the house, you already know exactly which mark I'm talking about, and you probably know which tooth did it. And somewhere behind all of that, there's a thought you haven't said out loud to anybody. Is he going to be like this forever? There's one thing almost every owner does when a puppy bites that feels like the calm, responsible, grown-up option, and it's quietly the most dangerous move on this list. I'm saving it for the end. Hi everyone, I'm Leo Bennett, your neighborhood dog guy. Here's what makes biting so much harder than it needs to be. Your puppy has no hands. He's got one tool for investigating the world, testing what things are made of, playing with his brothers and sisters, and telling you he's completely overexcited, and that tool has 42 teeth in it. So when he puts his mouth on you, he isn't breaking a rule, he doesn't know the rule exists yet. That's not a fault in him, and it isn't a failure in you. It's a gap between what he came with and what we expect, and it closes faster than almost anything else in dog training once you know where to aim. I've been shredded too. Everybody who has ever raised a puppy has a mark on a knuckle they can point to. So today, why it happens, the 3-step process that actually fixes it, the mistakes that quietly feed it, and the correct way to handle every one. And the last one is the one I want you to remember. Let's start with the moment itself, because most people are aiming at the wrong target. You reach down to stroke him, and instead of a head under your palm, you get a mouth on your wrist. Not hard, at first. A nibble. Then a grab. Then he's got your sleeve and he's making that noise. And the goal in your head, understandably, is stop the biting. Here's why that goal keeps failing you. A puppy who never mouths anything never learns how hard his jaw is. Puppies work that out from feedback, from litter mates yelping and quitting the game, and from us. So the target isn't a dog who never puts teeth on skin. The target is a dog who learns, quickly, that skin ends the fun and toys don't. The correct way. Change what you're measuring. Stop counting bites and start counting 2 things instead. How hard he's using his jaw and how fast he backs off when you tell him. Both of those move within a single session, which is why this feels so much better to work on than a flat band does. And they're what turn into an adult dog with a soft, careful mouth. The kind who can take a treat off a toddler without anybody noticing his teeth were involved. Now, timing. This is the part the professionals get right and the rest of us get wrong. And it's not about being harsher, it's about being earlier. Most of us respond to the bite after it lands. He's already got your hand, you've already flinched, and now you're saying no. Too late. By then he's mid-game, fully aroused, and your reaction is just the next move in it. What you're actually aiming at is the split second before, the decision. Watch him for 10 minutes and you'll start to see it. The head turns, the weight shifts forward, the mouth opens slightly. It's about a second of warning, and once you've seen it once, you can't unsee it. That second is where the whole thing is won or lost. The correct way. Mark the decision, not the damage. A short, flat sound, an ah, an eh, nothing screamed, the instant the mouth opens before contact. Then everything stops. You stand up, hands away, no eye contact, no talking, 5 seconds of absolutely nothing. That's it. And keep your voice down because volume isn't what teaches this. Precision is. Which brings me to the thing you're doing that's feeding it, and I promise this is the most common mistake in the whole video. He bites. You snatch your hand back fast. You go, ow, in a high voice. You push him away, or you grab his muzzle, or you flap. Every single one of those is, from his point of view, a fantastic reaction. Fast-moving hands are prey. High-pitched noises are what littermates make during the best games. Pushing is wrestling. You have just paid him for biting you, immediately, with the exact currency he wanted. The correct way. Go dull. Hands slow and heavy instead of quick. Stand up so your hands are above his head instead of in front of his face. And genuinely say nothing. The silence is the punishment because the game stopping is the only consequence a puppy actually cares about. It feels like doing nothing. It's the most powerful thing in this video. Now, correcting only tells him what you don't want, and that's half a message. Nobody learns well from half a message. The second half is redirection, and the mistake here is offering him something boring. You take your hand out of his mouth and hand him a stiff rubber ring sitting still on the floor, and you expect him to prefer it to a warm, moving arm attached to a person who reacts. Of course he doesn't. Whatever you swap in has to be at least as fun as you are, and fun to a puppy means it moves. A tug rope, a long fleece toy, a soft tug with a handle, something that keeps your fingers well away from his teeth and gives him something to actually pull against. And keep 2 of them, so you're never wrestling the last one out of his mouth. The correct way. Correct, wait for the tiniest drop in energy. You're not waiting for calm, just for the top of the spike to come off. Then produce the toy and make it come alive. Drag it along the floor, away from him, in little jerks like something trying to escape. Let him catch it. Let him win it. Play hard with him for 30 seconds and mean it. You are not rewarding the bite. You're showing him where all that energy is supposed to go, and the energy was never the problem. Then the part almost everybody skips, which is the part that makes it permanent. Correcting and redirecting handles the moment. Reinforcing is what changes next week, and it means catching him doing it right when you didn't ask him to. He's lying on the rug at 9 at night, chewing his own toy, entirely of his own accord, bothering nobody. That is the single most valuable thing that happens all day, and almost all of us walk straight past it because nothing is going wrong. The correct way. Mark it. A quiet yes from across the room, then either a treat or just a bit of calm praise. Do that 10 times in a week, and chewing the right thing stops being an instruction and starts being a habit, which is a completely different thing and a far more durable one. Meanwhile, the biting gets corrected and goes nowhere, so it fades on its own. That's the whole engine. Wrong thing goes down, right thing goes up, and you're not fighting him on either side. Here's the one nobody wants to hear, because it's not a technique. If your puppy's biting is worst in the evening, or worst right when the grandchildren arrive, or worst after 20 minutes of everyone getting him wound up in the kitchen, you don't have a biting problem. You have an arousal problem, and biting is just what it looks like on the outside. An overtired puppy bites like a toddler having a meltdown for exactly the same reason. The brakes aren't installed yet, and they wear out fastest when he's exhausted. Puppies need an enormous amount of sleep, far more than people expect, and most of the ones I meet with terrible biting are running on far too little. Real-world example. A family called me about a 7-month-old who was fine all day and turned into a shark from about 5 o'clock. Their whole household ran on the assumption that a biting dog needed more exercise, so every evening they added another walk, another game of fetch, another round of the kids on the floor with him. He was getting more and more tired and more wound up, and the biting got worse every week. The fix wasn't a correction. It was a crate in a quiet room and a nap at 4 in the afternoon. The biting halved in 4 days before we taught him anything at all. The correct way. Before you work on the behavior, count the sleep and count the wind-up. And drop the temperature of the exciting moments. Greetings, kids arriving, coming down to his level on the floor. That last one especially. Getting your face down to his height is the biggest trigger there is, and it's exactly what small children do all day without meaning to. Which brings me to the last one, and the reason I made you wait. Your dog is biting, it's escalating, and you do the thing that feels responsible. You take him firmly by the collar and you hold him. Maybe you look him in the eye. Maybe you hold him until you feel the fight go out of him. It looks calm and controlled, it's advised all over the internet, and it works often enough that people keep recommending it. Here's my problem with it, and I want to be straight that this is an area where experienced dog people genuinely disagree. Plenty of good trainers use versions of this and get results. What both sides agree on is this. Grabbing a dog by the collar is one of the most common circumstances in which people get seriously bitten, and hard eye contact with an aroused dog raises pressure rather than lowering it. So the risk isn't theoretical. Real-world example. A man I worked with had used the collar hold on his adolescent shepherd for months, and it did settle him each time, so he kept doing it. What it also did was teach that dog that a hand coming toward his neck meant being pinned. About a year later, his niece reached for that dog's collar to move him off the sofa and got bitten badly enough to need stitches. That dog wasn't aggressive. He'd been taught, patiently and by a person who loved him exactly what a collar grab means. The correct way. Don't build your management around holding him still. Put a light house line on him, a short lead he trails around indoors, so you can calmly guide him away without ever grabbing at his neck, and use a gate or a pen when he's too far gone to think. And separately, in completely calm moments, pay him for collar touches. Hand to the collar, treat, let go. 30 seconds a day. You want a dog who thinks a hand on his collar means something good is about to happen, because one day, someone is going to reach for it in an emergency, and what he thinks in that half second is the whole ballgame. So take this one thing out of all of it. Puppy biting isn't a warning sign, it isn't a temperament, and it isn't a verdict on you. It's a young animal using the only tool he came with, in a species that hasn't got hands, before anybody explained the rules. You correct the wrong thing, you show him the right thing, you pay him when he chooses it, and you keep him rested enough to be capable of choosing at all. It goes faster than you think, and if you've spent this long researching how to handle a puppy who bites, instead of just shouting at him and hoping, that's the whole answer to the worry you had at the start. That's not what a bad owner looks like. Tell me in the comments where your dog gets you and what age he is. Ankles at 10 weeks, sleeves at 7 months, ears if you've got a lap height dog and a bad habit of leaning in. I read all of them, and they decide what I make next. Go put a toy in his mouth before he finds your hand. Thank you for watching.